Okay. Hello everyone, Tina Guest with St. John's Faith Formation. I am here with Brian Carson. Brian Carson is our new music coordinator.
It's actually Carson.
Okay, we'll edit that out.
Take
How did
two.
I write that out? I am Carlson, that's so funny. Okay. Hello everyone, Tina Guest with St. John's Faith Formation. I am here with Brian Carson. Hi Brian, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. Brian is our new music coordinator at St. John's. And you know, Brian comes from the Church of St. Louis in downtown St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, coincidentally, I used to be a member of that parish. I never knew who you were because you're always in the choir loft.
Yep.
Right now we're in the midst of COVID, so people probably won't be able, that many people won't be able to see you. But then you're also in the choir loft all the time, so what better way to introduce you to the parish, I thought, than through this new platform of interviewing you. So thanks for being with me today.
Well, thank you for asking me to be on the video.
Yeah, and you know, I just have to preface this by saying this is a huge win for our parish for you coming here, so welcome. I know you probably feel very humbled, but really, when I used to go to the Church of St. Louis, the priest was very reverent, as is Father Neil, but combined with the music that you provided at that church, you know, you could really feel like heaven and earth colliding as Mass is. And it's just a huge blessing for you to be here, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so great. So I thought it'd be good for us to know a little bit about you. So like, where were you born? Where do you live now and your family? And
I was born in Watertown, New York, which
Okay.
is about 25 miles south of the Canadian border. I grew up there and went to the Oberlin Conservatory in Ohio
Okay,
as an organ major, got my bachelor's there, and then went to the Eastman School of Music at the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York, where our
Wow.
daughter is going to start this fall.
oh, that's exciting.
Got my master's there and met my wife. We got married and I started to do church music full time in the early 1990s, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
What brought you to Minnesota?
My wife got a teaching position at St. Olaf College, so
Oh, wow.
we live in Northfield.
So, and then you have how many children?
We have two.
Okay,
We have a son who is about 24, and he is in a master's program in Germany,
Wow.
Saarbrücken, although he's at home now until the
Okay.
fall.
yeah.
And then our daughter has just graduated high school, and she'll be a freshman this fall.
You did mention that you're a convert.
Yes, I am.
And so tell us about that.
I was an Episcopalian for a long time and was involved in what they would call a high church parish, which is that the practice and the music were very Catholic there. And probably a lot of people would not be able to distinguish between the two right away. And I just discovered that the practice pointed to a faith which was true, but which they did not necessarily hold. So
Okay.
I thought that it would be the best thing to become a Catholic.
Right. Was it through their liturgy or was it through the music itself that brought you to that point, that
Oh,
realization?
both.
Both?
Yeah, they're intertwined. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. So then your wife too, you said she is an organist in Northfield?
Yep. Well, actually, she teaches organ and music theory
Okay.
at St. Olaf College, but she also has a church job on weekends at Colonial Church of Edina, so
Okay.
it's not too far to the north
Right.
of here.
What made you decide to go into church music?
I don't know, I've always liked it, ever
Yeah.
since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And my first piano teacher actually was the organist at the local church, and
Wow.
I knew her as the organist before she
Okay.
taught me piano.
Can you tell us, what is the organ?
The organ is actually a very old instrument.
Mm-hmm.
The ancient Greeks and Romans had organs, and it is a wind instrument that has a pipe, it's called, through which air blows for each note on the organ. It's also sort of like an early synthesizer because it has different types of pipes for the same note that you can turn on or turn off. So it has a very wide kind of color range. And it also has a very wide dynamic range because the lowest sounds on the organ are lower than a human being could sing, and the highest sounds are higher than a human being could sing
Right.
by far, and then there is the whole range in between those two.
So why is the organ suitable for the liturgy?
Well, it has a very, very long association with the liturgy. I did allude to the human voice. The human voice and the organ both make their sound the same way,
Okay.
with actual human breath, or with wind, as we call it, in the organ. And because of that, they both do very, very well in a lot of environments that you would have found and still find, particularly in Europe. Churches that are made out of stone, that
Okay.
have lots of hard surfaces, and the reverberation, we call it, that's the length of time that the sound lasts in the building from the time you actually stop making it until it disappears. That quality of acoustic, we call it, allows the organ and the human voice to develop their color in a nice way in the room, and that's the best environment for both kinds of sounds. Also, because of the pitch range I had just mentioned, and the reason that both instruments can sustain, the pitch range gives a great support for people to sing to, and it gives them a body of tone to kind of fit into in a less self-conscious way than if they were singing alone or trying to match to some small instrument that's way far away.
Right. So we should all for sure be singing at Mass. Well, we can't now because of COVID, but
when it's your turn to sing, certainly.
Yeah. Is there anything the church says about the organ in the liturgy?
Yes, actually, it's been subject to regulation for hundreds of years.
Okay.
But the latest thing I just happen to have right here.
Yeah.
And Vatican II said in the very first document they released, which was the Constitution on the Sacred Liturgy, Sacrosanctum Concilium, that the organ in the Latin Church was to be held in high esteem, for it is the traditional musical instrument which adds a wonderful splendor to the Church's ceremonies and powerfully lifts up man's mind to God and to higher things.
Which kind of coincides with what I experienced at St. Louis. It was absolutely amazing.
Well, I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. You're gonna be teaching in the school.
Yep.
So what are you excited about that?
Well, I've had a lot of experience working with young people, but it's been in a church setting always, and I'm looking forward to teaching them probably a little bit earlier on fundamentals of music and reading music and voice production, but also to impart some of our own heritage as Catholics and some of the history of music that actually can be very interesting and exciting. Looking forward to working on great music from hundreds of years ago right up to the present day.
Awesome. Well, good. Be sure to say hi to Brian when next time you're at Mass. And now you know what he looks like when he's walking through the gathering space. All right.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Awesome.